Alright guys, so I'm outside of a 2018 Honda Civic Hatchback, and this is the EX model. So I just want to walk you through some things and explain the differences on the car and what's going on with it. So I'm going to start you at the back at the hatch. It's got the keyless entry, so I can just touch and pop it open if I have the key in my pocket. Now moving into the back, it does come with a privacy cover on here, so you can throw it into place, and that way if you close it, you can't see in your belongings, but I've got this tinted pretty dark, so you can't see them anyways. So know that you have this, standard in the car. Down below, you'll notice I do have some storage, and this is actually where my spare is. So the car does have a spare first off, because a lot of cars nowadays don't necessarily. You can flip your back seats down. You've got handles right here you can do it from. So it's a 60-40 split. So I'm gonna reach down and throw them so you can see the spacing for this car. I get this. All right. So this will give you a good idea for spacing inside of this car. So you've actually got a good amount of space to work from. It does have a slight angle up, so just be aware of that if you're looking at this car. If you're sleeping in it, you know what I mean? If camping goes awry, just keep that in mind. Now I'm gonna move to the second row here and show you some different things. So let's throw these back up real quick. This does have the black and ivory interior. It either comes with a black interior or a black and ivory interior. So this is the white diamond pearl on a black and ivory. So this way you can get an idea for the back seating. Now let's move up into the front. All right, so keyless entry, I can walk up and just put my hand on the door handle to unlock for me, and to lock it, I can press right here. So that's how keyless entry works on the vehicle. And then when I hop in here, I'll show you a couple other things. This car also is gonna come with a remote start. So keep that in mind. I'll show you on the key right here. To use it, press the lock button first, and then press and hold the remote start button, and that'll fire up the car. If you wanted to turn it off really quickly, you could press the unlock button and then the remote start button to turn it back off in case you got distracted and caught up doing something. Now, when you use a remote start on this car, when you hop in, none of the electronics like this are gonna be on. It's just gonna be the engine and the AC. So it's gonna ask you to put your foot on the brake and tap that start button to get it cranked fully up, and that's just to acknowledge the key is now in the car, and that's for safety's sake, right? So okay, let's start you on the left side and kind of walk you across some things. So the first thing is the auto up-down windows. So I've got one touch on my driver and passenger side. I can tap them and send them down, tap them and send them up, so you can see I'm sending them up. You got your window controls as far as locking them, your door locks, and then your mirror controls, a left and a right tab, and then you can adjust accordingly here. Moving up onto the dash, button right here is Vehicle Stability Assist. This works with your traction control, so in the event that you go into a skid, it'll transfer power to whichever wheel's getting better traction, so that's what it's designed to do. It's always on unless you press and hold that button to turn it off. Now, moving over a little bit, I'll start you right here on the edge of the blinker stalk. So there's two different ways to turn on the camera off the right side for your blind spot. Now, if I turn the blinker on the right, it's gonna throw this camera on. And you can see red line is the end of your car, red to orange is a car length, and then orange to orange back there is another car length. So I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see that. So that's how that works. And you can turn those guidelines on and off, so just be aware of that. Now, I don't have to turn this blinker on to do it. There's a button right here on the tip of the blinker stalk I can press, and that'll turn it on and off whenever I want. So I can turn the default setting where the blinker, when I turn it on, turns it on, right? And instead it's where only when I press this button will it turn that camera on. So just be aware, you have some options here, right? Now moving on to the steering wheel, the first thing I'm going to show you is Bluetooth control. So to answer a phone call, to hang up a phone call, and to use voice command. This is also going to come into play with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I'll have access to pressing and holding this. Once I hear the beep for Siri, ask Siri to do anything. So Siri, text this person. Siri, give me directions to such and such. Or, you know, if you're using Android-based things, you'd be using Google. Google to give me directions to such and such. Or I need to text this person. Same idea, right? Just two different providers as far as, what you're doing. The I button right here is your information screen. So that's what's gonna come up here. So I can toggle through. So whether I wanna get my tripometer information, I just wanna see drivetrain related issues. I wanna jump over to my maintenance reminder as far as my oil life, which about 8,500 miles is when you're gonna be looking at an oil change in this car. Synthetic blend oil. So at my dealership, an oil change is like 30 something bucks. So not super expensive, and you're gonna get more mileage than that 3,000, 5,000 some people are used to. Audio wise, let me go back to that one. Whatever I'm listening to will pop up there. So right now I have it on satellite radio running right here, but I can see that right here too if I want. Just keep jumping over here. My Bluetooth controls, and then switching over to kilometers per hour versus miles per hour, depending on where you're at. So that's what this I button does right here. And then when you get to one you want to select, just press enter. And you can toggle between those menus this way too, or just keep pressing the I button. Now your volume controls are going to be right here. So if I'm listening to something, I can turn it up and it'll show me there, and then off to zero race here. So I've got controls here, and then I've got controls over here. Something I will show people, I know there's always a point of contention of not having a volume knob for some people, but if my finger is anywhere in this area, it will turn it up and down as I drag up and down. So you don't have to be right exactly on this button. So just keep that in mind. It makes life a little bit easier for some people. Cruise control settings are right here. If cruise main is on, you'll see cruise main up in there in that box. That's what I'm making flash right there. That'll stay on. So if I get out of the car and turn it off and hop back in and crank it up, this will be on again, so that if I want to set cruise, all I have to do is press the set button. So it just makes life a little bit easier. You don't have to turn it on every single time. Your windshield wiper controls are right over here. My front's to pull down, and then my back windshield wiper is gonna be out that back window. While we're talking about back windows, I'm gonna flip this around so you can see what it looks like out that back window, so you can get an idea for what you're looking with. If you're not used to being in a hatchback, you have to understand it's a little bit more sloped, so you don't have, you know, some massive back window like you would in an SUV maybe, but a lot of SUVs have those corners that catch some blind spots too. So I just want you to be able to see that so you understand, because that's usually the first thing people do when they hop into this car, is look at that back window. Now onto the dash. I'm gonna start you at the home screen here and kind of walk you through some things. So audio-wise, let's show you all your different options. I'm gonna touch the source button right here, and this will pull them all up. So I've got FM, I've got AM, I have 90 days of satellite radio for free. I do have USBs that I can plug into. So I've got two. I've got one down there, and that's the one you'd use for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And there's actually a hole right up here so where you can run the wires up through so you don't have stuff running around the sides and everything, right? And then I have a secondary USB down in here. So as far as USBs goes, I could plug in like a USB drive, I could plug in a phone, an MP3 player, a lot of different ways I can listen to music that way. Bluetooth, so I can wirelessly listen to my music off my phone, whether it be streaming or saved to the phone. This car is Pandora compatible. If you're a Spotify user, no big deal. Use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It'll give you access to Spotify. You already have Pandora on here. You'll have iHeartMedia if you're an iHeartMedia user. So know that there's a lot of different ways you can stream music. Slacker Radio if you're on Google. There's several different things you can do depending on what type of user you are. Let's jump out of that. Next thing is the info button. There's two different options that most people use from here, and that's going to be tripometer information, which you can get up in this screen up here, which I have showing right now. It's the same info, just displayed in a different area. So how many miles I have on this tank of gas, what my previous and current trips are as far as miles per gallon. And then I'm going to jump into the menu. The other thing you can do is if you want a clock or wallpaper pulled up, you can set it right here, and you can customize this. So I can change this, and to do so, I would go to clock wallpaper settings, wallpaper type, and then from here, you go to next. In case you want to do this, all you're doing is plugging in a USB drive with like a JPEG or a PNG file, and then I can add. I go to wallpaper and then add new, and it'll pull up and load them for you. So that's just how you do it. In case you want to mess with that, in case you have a favorite team, favorite dog, favorite cat, favorite parent, something. Honda Link. So Honda Link allows you to set up your own account on your phone. It's an app you'll download. It'll give you maintenance reminders, recall notices. And a lot of my cars now, and this is the way all of our cars are moving, is it'll start giving you access to doing things like being able to lock the doors and unlock the doors from the phone, being able to start the car from the phone. So there's some subscription-based stuff to this, but on a lot of my cars, they give you at least a year for free to try it out and see if it's something you actually want to continue. So know that this is going to actually have some really cool stuff. Phone. It just gives you access to your Bluetooth as far as receiving phone calls, text, emails, that sort of thing. So that's what that is. I don't have a phone connected up to it right now, so I'm not going to pull it up. Now settings, there's some things in here I want to show you. The first is going to be, as far as connecting a phone, you would go to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and then we would go to the device list because we want to add something to that list, and then add Bluetooth device. And then this will allow you to search for your phone. Once you have your Bluetooth on, hit continue, and they'll search for each other. So that's how to add a phone. And you can add up to, I believe, 8 phones to a car. Now settings, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to vehicle. So this is where like door lock settings are, lighting setups, things like that. So let's go to door and window first. On here, first one is door lock. This is where it's set. Right now the default is when you hit 9 miles an hour, it's going to automatically lock the doors of the car. And you have some options. When you're getting out of the car, right now when you open your driver's side door, it's then going to unlock the remaining doors of the car. And there's some options you can change that to. So I wanted you to know about that, right? Walkway auto lock down here at the bottom is a feature I really like. It's currently disabled. What it is I'm going to turn this on just for the next guy. Is if I get outside of 10 feet from my car and I have the key in my pocket, it'll automatically lock the doors. So if you're the kind of person who gets halfway into the grocery store and then realizes, I don't know if I lock the doors, I'm gonna have to walk back out there so that I don't feel uneasy about it, this is for you. It'll automatically lock when you get outside that 10 feet perimeter. So that way, if you're walking in the house and your hands are full, if you get halfway to the grocery store and you're worried about it, that's a great feature, and that's the walkway auto lock feature. So one more time, just to get to that, I'll show you where you go. I'm going to go to settings. So let's just start you from the beginning. So I'll show you where to get to all these settings, and then vehicle, right? And then from here, door and window setup. And that's where the door lock, unlock, and then at the very bottom of the screen, walkway auto lock. So just so you know where some things are. Beyond that, smartphone connection. This is where Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are going to come into play. And to use those, you will plug into this USB down here with the phone on it. If you were an Apple user, you can just plug in and go from there. It'll pull up and do everything for you. If you're an Android-based user, be aware that you do have to download the Android Auto app. which is in the Play Store. You can just search Android Auto, it'll pop up and you'll see it. But be aware, once you've downloaded that, then you can connect up. This will light up and either say Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. That's how you know it's connected and working, and then you can select it and it'll pull up the screen. I have videos on it, so if you want more information, I'd be more than happy to help answer some questions. Below that, my AC controls. So AC, right now I have it set up to where it syncs. So meaning up here on the top, you'll notice if I adjust my temperature down here, it's gonna adjust both. If I unsync it, now I can adjust the left side separate of the right side, so you can see. So I'm gonna jump back to sync. Now, if I press the auto button down here, what that means is if it's set to 70 up here, it's just gonna adjust accordingly in the cabin. It'll turn up the fan, turn down the fan to keep it at 70 inside of the car. So that's how auto works, in case you didn't know. I can press the climate button also and pull everything up on the screen. So if I wanna turn the AC on, if I wanna do where I wanna direct the air and how much air. So be aware I have that control here too. So I'm gonna turn that back off. All right, so moving down, I do have heated seats in this model. They're right there, so driver and passenger side. Below that, my standard shifter right here. Brake hold. So way brake hold works is if I'm in stop and go traffic, what'll happen is I have to have my seatbelt on for this to work. But if brake hold is on and I come to a complete stop, it'll hold the brake while I'm in drive. So I'll see if I can set this for us here and show you. Because I'm in a parking lot and I've got a little bit of space. So you'll see brake hold on up here right now, and it says brake hold, and the car is actually in drive and I don't have my foot on the gas pedal. So it's holding the brake currently for me. And then when I press the gas, it's gonna release and we're gonna take off moving, right? So that's how brake hold works. It's great for stop and go traffic. It's just a convenience feature, so be aware. That's brake hold, right? If you don't have your seatbelt on, this feature doesn't work, so keep that in mind. If you're in a drive-through, gotta have your seatbelt on if you wanna use this. Now your parking brake is electronic. To use it, I always put my foot on the brake and then I lift up on the trigger to set it, and you'll see the brake button come on up there. It's in red right there. See if I can zoom in on that focus a little bit. And then to release it, I'll put my foot on the brake and I'll press down on that trigger to release it. And you'll feel the pedal move under you, the brake pedal. You'll be able to tell. Now, econ button, whenever I press that, you'll see this green leaf come on right there. What that means is it is going to improve gas mileage in this car, but in doing so, it's a give and take system. It's going to offset a couple things. Your accelerator, if you smash it to the floorboard, you're not going to take off and go quite as fast when this is on. And your AC unit, if you have it on 100% full blast, it's not going to blow quite as hard. So there's a little bit of a dim there. You probably won't notice it, but I know it exists, so I'm just going to let you know about it. Now, your center console, I have a sliding armrest right here, and then I can pop it open, so you can see that. And then I do have a sliding shift for like a, shelf, for like keys or change. And then I do have a deep well if I want to use like the massive drinks or water bottles. And then if I need to scoot it over, I can have like normal drinks in there. So that's how that works additionally too. So just so you know what's going on with that. Other than that, I've got standard mirror. You've got your what I call new car stuff, lit vanities and things like that. So that way you can see what's going on. This is a white Civic EX hatchback with the black and ivory interior, just so you know what's going on. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help you out. You can always call me at 512-443-4300. You can also comment on the YouTube video, or you can email me at the letter J and then Fuller, F-U-L-L-E-R, at howdyhonda.com. Thank you much.